In the heart of the Horn of Africa, a nation stands once again on the edge of uncertainty. As the clock ticks toward May 15, 2026, Somalia finds itself without a clear election plan. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud's term is set to expire, yet no agreement has been reached on how, or even when, the next leader will be chosen. Opposition leaders are mobilizing supporters for a major demonstration, just one day after the presidential mandate ends. Tensions between the federal government and opposition groups are rising fast. Streets in Mogadishu are tense. International observers are watching closely. And ordinary Somalis, many of whom have known nothing but instability their entire lives, are asking one simple question: will this election bring hope or push the country back into crisis? But to truly understand why Somalia's elections are so fragile, why they keep getting delayed, and why this moment feels so dangerous, we first need to go back into Somali history. Somalia's modern story begins with colonialism. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Somali people were divided by European powers. Britain took the north, Italy controlled the south, and France and Ethiopia claimed other pieces. This artificial division ignored deep clan ties and nomadic traditions that had defined Somali life for centuries. After World War II, the push for independence grew strong. On July 1, 1960, British Somaliland and Italian Somaliland united to form the Somali Republic, a rare moment of hope. The new country adopted a democratic constitution. For 9 years, Somalia practiced a lively, if chaotic, multi-party democracy. Elections were held. Newspapers criticized the government. It was messy, but it was Somali-owned. Then came the turning point. In 1969, General Siad Barre seized power in a military coup. He promised stability and development under scientific socialism. For the first decade, there were real gains: literacy campaigns, infrastructure projects, and a strong national army. But over time, Barre's regime became increasingly authoritarian, corrupt, and brutal. He played clans against each other. Dissent was crushed. The economy collapsed. By the late 1980s, armed rebellions erupted across the country. In 1991, Barre's government fell. What followed was not liberation, it was catastrophe. The Somali state collapsed completely. Warlords carved up the country. Clans turned on one another. Famine ravaged the land. International intervention came and went, most famously the failed US-led operation in 1993. For over 2 decades, Somalia became synonymous with state failure, piracy, and endless civil war. Out of this chaos, a new political reality slowly emerged: federalism built on clan power sharing. To understand how elections work in Somalia today, you must understand the 4.5 formula. After years of conferences and failed peace deals, Somali leaders and international mediators created a power-sharing system in the late 1990s and early 2000s. They divided political power among Somalia's major clan families. The 4 largest clan groups, Darad, Hawiye, Dir, and Rahanweyn, each received an equal full share. All smaller and minority clans together received half a share. Hence, 4.5. This formula was never meant to be permanent. It was supposed to be a temporary bridge to prevent any single clan from dominating and reigniting civil war, but it became deeply entrenched. In today's system, members of parliament are not directly elected by the people. Instead, they are chosen through an indirect election process. Traditional clan elders, in consultation with politicians and sometimes business leaders, select representatives, often called electoral colleges. These representatives then vote for members of parliament. Parliament then elects the president. This system gives enormous power to clan elders, regional presidents, and influential figures. It is slow, expensive, corruptible, and often produces leaders who owe their positions to backroom deals rather than popular will. Successive governments have promised to move toward one-person, one-vote universal elections. Some progress has been made. Local elections were held in Mogadishu in late 2025 with decent turnout. But scaling this nationally remains extremely difficult due to security threat, lack of infrastructure, clan resistance, and deep mistrust. This brings us to the heart of today's tensions. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud's term officially ends on May 15, 2026. His government has been pushing hard for electoral reform, including a shift toward more direct elections. However, the opposition and several powerful federal member states, especially Puntland and Jubaland, accuse the president of trying to change the rules in his favor, possibly to extend his time in power or centralize authority in Mogadishu. Talks between the government and the opposition have repeatedly collapsed. Trust has broken down. The opposition warns that any attempt to extend the current government's mandate without broad consensus could trigger a constitutional crisis. On May 10th, protests erupted in Mogadishu over forced evictions and political grievances. Opposition leaders have called for another major demonstration on May 16th. The atmosphere is tense and highly charged. Many Somalis fear that, without a clear and agreed-upon election roadmap, the country could slide back into dangerous political fragmentation. Security remains a massive concern. Al-Shabaab still controls significant rural areas and carries out regular attacks in cities. Any major political vacuum or disputed transition could give the militants new opportunities to exploit divisions. Somalia's elections are not just about choosing a president. They are about the survival of the federal project itself. A credible and peaceful transition would strengthen the fight against Al-Shabaab by uniting security forces and regional governments. It would boost international confidence and unlock much-needed development aid. It would also give ordinary Somalis, especially the youth, hope that politics can deliver results instead of endless crisis. At the same time, it could help stabilize relations with neighbors like Ethiopia and Kenya, both of which are deeply affected by instability in Somalia. Conversely, a disputed or delayed election risks deepening clan divisions, weakening the central government, and creating space for parallel administrations or renewed conflict. Somalia's story is one of remarkable resilience. Despite decades of war, famine, piracy, and terrorism, the Somali people continue to rebuild. Cities are growing. Young entrepreneurs are innovating. The diaspora sends home billions in remittances. There is talent, ambition, and love for the nation that refuses to die. Yet the wounds of the past still run deep. Trust between clans, between regions and the central government, and between politicians and the people remains fragile. As Somalia approaches this critical moment in May 2026, the country faces another test of its young democracy. Will leaders put national interest above personal power? Can the federal system mature beyond clan arithmetic? Can Somalia finally move from endless transition to genuine stability? The coming weeks and months will be decisive. For Somalia, the 2026 election is more than a political contest. It is another chapter in a nation's long and painful search for peace, unity, and self-determination, a nation that has survived against the odds and still dares to hope for a better tomorrow. Only time will tell if this time will be different. As the clock keeps moving, Somalia stands at a turning point. The future will not be decided by time alone, but by the choices made today. Peace, unity, and stability are not guaranteed. They are built. So the question is not just what happens next, it is what we choose to do, together. If Somalia is to be different this time, it will take all of us. If you found this story meaningful, stay with us for more insights like this. Subscribe, join the conversation, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because the future isn't just watched, it's shaped.